So let's get right to it. I mean, this has been a big year for the town of Bracebridge, of course Muskoka as well, but in particular the town of Bracebridge. And I just wanted to have you in, just like previous years, to talk about some of the, I guess, highlights of this past 2018 that's really benefited your community.
Yeah, it's been an exciting year. I think we've seen a lot of growth on the economic development front with new businesses coming to the community. Certainly the advent of legalized marijuana has made a difference in Bracebridge, as we've got a grower that's come online and put 60,000 square feet of growing space into Bracebridge. That's creating a lot of jobs and a lot of interest, and that's going to carry through 2019 and beyond. But also, you know, it's busy all the time in a town of our size with a lot of things going on. And just before we get into some of the nuts and bolts, I want to thank everybody that continues to contribute and makes Bracebridge a better place. We have an incredible volunteer base, and so much happens because of people that are willing to give their time. It makes a huge difference each and every year in Bracebridge.
It really does. And I mean, I remember sitting with you last year around this time of year, and we knew we were going into an election year, and you weren't really sure, of course, if you were going to be reelected. And you talked about some of the legacy that you hope to leave behind. But now that you're still in that mayor's seat, is there something that you are most looking forward to continuing on, a project of yours, you know, that you want to see in the next 4 years come to fruition?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a couple of things. We've got an arena library complex that's been talked about a lot for the 8 years that I've been mayor. And for some people, it's quite frustrating that there hasn't been enough action for them. I would say that behind the scenes, there's been lots of action, and we want to really see this start to move forward. At this point, it's a matter of funding. And so all throughout 2018, we've been working with the provincial and federal governments to see what jars we can pry open and get some dollars, and expect that hard work to come to fruition later this year, which means we'll be able to get building in the relative near term and get a new facility online, which would be incredibly beneficial for the community.
2019, I mean, it's going to be an investment year, isn't it? Because I mean, you do talk about, you know, the new library complex and the new arena there, and that is going to cost quite a bit of dollars, isn't it?
It's in the tens of millions of dollars. It's a transformative project for the community. If we go ahead with the field house portion of it as well, there's still lots of talk about what that could be or should be in terms of design and future use. But I think that regardless of how we approach this, we know that the project will be of huge benefit to Bracebridge and surrounding communities as well, because we want to build something that is really valuable for our community for the next 50 years and beyond.
So, you know, I mean, we're only a couple of weeks away from the new year, 2019. Is there something that you think that what's one of the first things you, mayor and council, wants to touch on and really tackle for 2019, make sure it's completed by December of 2019?
Well, I think that funding piece is probably number one. The other thing that we need to do is sit down as a new council, and we'll be doing that in the next few meetings, and talking about goal setting, priority setting. Where do we individually want to go? We've been out on the campaign trail collectively for several months, and we heard a lot of information from residents about what's important to them. So, for example, housing is going to be huge in 2019 going forward. It was a big issue in 2018, but we've got to start to get our arms around that problem and start to implement some solutions. Municipalities are only part of that, but I think there's a real opportunity for not only Bracebridge to work on that, but all communities in Muskoka together and really provide some focus and assistance.
And of course, budget, right? That'll be discussed like in the beginning.
Yeah, we're going to start fairly, well, I mean, it's actually happening now, but the council will start to examine it very closely in January and through early February, look at a business plan for 2019, see what we didn't get done in 2018, bring that forward, add some new projects to it, and make sure that we've got enough money to get it all done, recognizing that, the taxpayer can only handle so much so fast, so we try and make it as fiscally responsible as possible and as easy on the taxpayer, while at the same time growing capacity and services in our community.
And I guess maybe my last question for you, Mayor, is what do you hope that your residents took away as we wrap 2018? What do you hope that they take away from this past year?
Well, from a council perspective, I hope they know we're doing our best at all times to make our community its best. We're really there to create an environment for people to shine. It's not all about the decisions we make. We're just one level of government, but we're the one that's closest to the people. So on a day-to-day basis, decisions that we make can have an impact. But at the same time, we don't create jobs, we create the environment for business to flourish. We don't create those wonderful outcomes where service clubs do work for others in the community. We just try and assist them where we can. So, we're at our best when we're kind of in the background making decisions that let our town, again, be, 100% as much of the time as possible. And when people have problems, they can come to us and we'll try and help them out.
Okay, well, I want to thank you so much for taking the time. And I guess for the last, a minute or so, if you'd like, the floor is yours for a greeting or a Christmas greeting, Happy New Year greeting, any wishes that you want to wish your constituents. It's all yours.
Well, thank you, and just a special greeting to everyone in Bracebridge and all throughout Muskoka that continues to work in our community and make it such a wonderful place. I've got a young family, and I wouldn't want to raise it anywhere else. The people here are generous and kind. We support one another. We help one another when people need that assistance, and we get to enjoy this incredible part of the world that we call home. So wishing everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year and continued success in 2019.